There are just 2 weeks left until the United States defaults on its debt. 2 weeks from today. If we don't act, if we allow our great country to default, the day of reckoning will be terrible. It'll hurt American jobs, families, businesses, and the reputation of our country. The fallout will be felt around the world. And Paul Ryan, who I hope gets to be the next speaker, very reasonably said last week, quote, "If the United States missed a bond payment, it would shake the confidence of the world economy. All kinds of credit would dry up, loans for small businesses, mortgages for young families. We would likely go into a recession." That's Paul Ryan. The former Republican, still a Republican, but he was top economic advisor to John McCain during his presidential campaign, and of course he was also director of the CBO, said last week, if the United States defaults, quote, "the first thing you'll see is a market reaction. Then you've got dramatic impacts on consumer confidence. The world's melting down again, and they go into an economic fetal position." That's FETAL. There's just no good news there, close quote. So instead of passing a clean bill to avoid this devastating, unprecedented event, Republicans are wasting the American people's time with a partisan vote on the Donald Trump Act. That's what we're going to go vote on at 2:15. That's what the House members have called it, and I think it's a pretty good description of what we're doing out there. Sadly, this exercise of futility, when potential default is just days away, is typical of Republican leadership the last 5 or 6 years, which according to nonpartisan congressional research data is on pace to be the least productive Senate in history. It's clear that Republican dysfunction is not limited to the House. I hope Republicans will come to their senses and pass a clean bill to ensure Americans pay its bills and avoid a catastrophic default. Senator Durbin.
We're witnessing an interesting chapter in the history of the Republican Party. 14 Republicans want to be president, but they can't really find one Republican who wants to be speaker. In this situation, it's no surprise that Donald Trump is leading the field of presidential candidates, and the congressional Republicans have no plan for this great nation. Here we are facing a government shutdown, and what's even worse, defaulting on America's debt for the first time in our history. Oh, they may get around to that a little later, in a few weeks, after they've figured out who's going to be the speaker, but each day as we draw closer to this deadline in the first week of November, it's at the expense of our economy, the expense of jobs, the expense of economic growth, and the expense of the American people. The Republicans are in charge in Congress, and look what we have: a looming shutdown, a looming default on our national debt, and an economy which is hanging in the balance. Is this leadership?
Sure.
Well, the deadline to raise the debt limit may be 2 weeks from today, but the consequences of brinksmanship and waiting until the 11th hour are already upon us. The yield on Treasury bills is already gone up. People have to pay more for mortgages. People have to pay more for car loans. People have to pay more for student loans. Small businesses have to pay more. It's gone up some. It's going to keep going up more. And the longer the Republicans play brinkmanship, the more middle-class people are hurt. Just as we saw in 2013, when Republicans played with fire on the debt ceiling, rates are beginning to spike and dominoes are beginning to fall. You don't have to go over the cliff and default before middle-class families already feel the squeeze. So you'd think with this catastrophe looming and middle-class families already beginning to feel the impact, Republicans would want to do something about it. What are they doing? A show vote. Even the Republican senator from Nevada, his junior senator, said that this was a show vote. He said something to the effect, people do show votes when they run for president. I guess now they're doing them when they run for governor. This is a waste. I wish I could say we're surprised to be spending time on this bill instead of acting to avert a crisis. But this is par for the course with Republicans running the Senate. Mitch McConnell got up and said he's going to show he can govern Well, it's been clear over the last 9 months that he can't govern, and now this should convince any doubter that they're just tied in a knot and can't get anything done. We've spent a month on show votes that no one thought would pass. We've spent all that time when there are these crises looming. And we're doing legislation that would be sure to be vetoed if it could even pass. They've wasted time, and we've crept up to the edge of a default. We've watched the Export-Import Bank and Perkins Loan student programs expire, watched the Land and Water Conservation Fund run out, and seen dozens and dozens of judges and executive nominations languish without a vote. Time and time again, Republicans spin their wheels, creating a manufactured crisis at every turn. Here we are, days before risking the full faith and credit of the U.S. It's time for the Senate Republicans to stop playing games and actually govern like they say they're trying to do. They're not. They're just not. Enough games. Let's take the threat of economic catastrophe off the table now, before it's too late.
Senator Murray.
Well, families across this country are pretty sick and tired of hearing the same old story again and again. Every time they see the news, they see more reports of Republican dysfunction, infighting, and partisanship. Each time we scrape past one Republican artificial crisis, they are pushing us to the next. It is terrible for our families, for our economy, and it has to end. But now, with just 2 weeks to go until we hit the next completely unnecessary crisis, Republicans are once again pushing us to the brink and causing more uncertainty for our families and for our economy. We heard yesterday that this Republican Senate is now on pace to be the least productive in history. That's disappointing, but more than anything else, it is a missed opportunity. Congress should be working together to create jobs, to help our middle-class families and help our economy grow. We should be tackling the serious issues that people sent us here to address, not spending so much time on political show votes and pandering to their political base. After Republicans shut down the government in 2013, we proved Democrats and Republicans can work together and get results the minute Republican leaders allow it to happen. We can do it again. There is no reason to wait until the last minute. There are Democrats and Republicans both who want to do the right thing, who want to restore investments in education and health care and defense jobs, and they want to end this cycle of one crisis after another. But it will be up to Republican leaders to end their party's dysfunction and allow that to happen.
Leader Reid.
Yes.
Any progress to report on budget talks? And yesterday we saw a letter from 100 defense hawks in the House, Republicans, who say they want a significant plus-up for defense in a budget deal. How does that change the dynamic?
We have two issues. Debt ceiling, we have 2 weeks left on that. On the budget, we have until December 11th. We're going to take them one at a time. It's my understanding the House is going to try to bring up a debt ceiling bill, not the Pay China First bill. Hope they don't do that first. And we hope that they will do it this week. That will allow us time to do this before the deadline that is going, as I said, is 2 weeks from today. Then we'll start focusing on the budget. Progress has been made in other talks with staff level with the budgeting, but until we get the debt ceiling done, I don't think there's going to be anything done in a serious nature, because on the debt ceiling, it is non-negotiable. It is a straight up or down vote on extending the debt of this country. It's important, and I remind everyone, this is not for some new program that somebody dreamed up. It's not for new taxes. It's for taking care of the bills that we've already accrued. The vast majority of them are bills for the about $2 trillion in 2 unpaid wars and the trillions of dollars in unpaid tax cuts that went all to the wealthy.
Senator Reid.
Yes. Well, he appears to me to be one of the people over there that would be reasonable. I mean, look at some of the other people. I'm a Paul Ryan fan. I don't agree with him on much of what he does. I think what he's done with Medicare and Medicaid, what he's wanted to do, I disagree with. But generally speaking, I think that we've been able to work with him as so indicated by Senator Murray just a few minutes ago.
Senator Reid, how much patience do Senate Democrats have with Joe Biden right now as he continues to deliver?
Hey, you're supposed to be downtown. We don't need you now. Where's your TV camera? Okay. Yeah.
Hillary,
Okay, who's,
how much?
what's that? Over here or over there? Well, that's up to Senator McConnell. He's the Republican leader. He has to deal with those folks. I don't. Okay, Manu.
How much patience do Senate Democrats have right now with Joe Biden as he continues to deliberate a possible run?
On the debt ceiling, we as Democrats are united. On the budget program that we hope comes forward, we're united on that. As far as presidential politics, we're united. We are very proud of the debate that took place in Las Vegas just a short time ago, where there was actual debate on issues, not on who could berate that person standing next to him the most. So we're united. We feel good about where we are.
Are you united about a Joe Biden presidential run?
Joe's going to have to make that decision himself. As I've said, I'll say it again, Joe Biden's my friend, Hillary Clinton's my friend, Jim Webb, who dropped out today, is my friend. I think that Governor O'Malley has been terrific for Nevada. He's been a good guy. And Lincoln Chafee served admirably in the Senate. So Joe will have to do what he wants to do.
Senator Reid, if Paul Ryan is weighing a bid for Speaker, the Harry Reid endorsement's not going to help him get any Republican votes.
I just speak the truth. Okay?
Are you handicapping him though with public endorsement?
No, I simply said, of all those people, I hope he gets it. If it helps him, fine. If it doesn't, it's too bad.
Democrats are sticking together on that. How confident are you that there are enough votes to pass a clean ballot bill easily here?
Here, well, we'd need some help from Republicans. There aren't enough of us to do it alone.
Are you confident that you will be able to get that help?
Well, the burden is not mine. It's Senator McConnell, who's stated at least 15 different times, we are not going to close the government on my watch. It's up to him. We're ready to do the responsible thing. I think it would be really untoward to have Democrats supplying basically all the votes. Republicans should dive into this also. They're the ones that have run up most of the debt, not us.
Senator Reid, the Trump and Carson campaigns apparently asked DHS for Secret Service protection. DHS is supposed to bring them requests for you. Have you done that yet?
We've been through this before. I await hearing from the secretaries, including the Secret Service. I'm ready to talk to them whenever they're available, as will the other leaders. Thanks, everybody.